New Year's resolutions suck. I find that they have bad staying power, and oftentimes are just a way to procrastinate from starting the important stuff that you need to get done now. However, I do think the end of the year is a great time to look at how you're spending your time, audit your habits, and just see if your actions are aligned with your goals. Kicking off 2025, I wanted to share 10 minimalist-inspired habits that have had the biggest impact in my life and will lead to a healthier, happier, and more productive year. Hey everybody, my name is Jake Kaiser, and I've always been obsessed with productivity, health, and life optimization. I've found that the tenets of minimalism as well as the Stoic philosophy have been some of the most useful for me to create a dream life for myself. For these first few habits, I want to draw some inspiration from a quote from Leonardo da Vinci that is, "Simplicity is the ultimate sophistication." This is based on Stoic ideology and really showcases how focusing on less can sometimes lead to outsized returns. The first core principle is investing in yourself first and foremost. There is no higher return on investment than focusing on your hard, soft skills, as well as your health and your ability to perform in everyday life. These skills are going to compound over time, and you'll be amazed where you are in a few years when you're really focusing on this. These can look like focusing on your health, focusing on technical skills that help you in your career, or even focusing on soft skills. And one of the beautiful things about this is no one can ever take these away from you. I like to think with only the knowledge in my brain, the skills that I developed, and kind of my frameworks for life, that you could take everything away from me and I would be able to bounce back to my feet and be successful. There's a confidence that comes from investing in yourself and knowing you're going to be okay with what is intrinsically inside of you. I also really like to think of this concept as building your body on the health side to be the machine that's capable of achieving your dreams and your aspirations. Being more fit and more healthy is going to help us focus more, get more done, and overall lead to outsized returns compared to someone who's not focused in this area. Speaking of healthy habits, the second item as a focus for 2025 is setting a consistent sleep schedule. There is no benefit to snoozing your alarm, and sleep, in my opinion, is one of the key levers we have in terms of living the most productive, successful, and best life possible. I used to have the mindset that I'll sleep when I'm dead, just grind it out. I was trying to fit a ton of work into a day, but when I started focusing on prioritizing my sleep, I actually am getting way more done than I ever did when I was grinding it out. I am so much more productive during my waking hours. I feel more alive, I feel more energetic, more excited, and I'm just overall more stoked on life. To optimize your sleep, wake up and go to bed at the same time. Try to decompress and de-stress before bed. That means no social media or anything that's going to cause some emotional reaction. Keep your room dark and cold. And I've also found that setting your circadian rhythm by getting outside early in the morning also helps me sleep better as well. The third key principle is kind of a subset of what we talked about earlier with health, but it's setting aside dedicated time for flexibility, mobility, and stability training. Everyone and their mother is talking about strength training, as well as endurance training and cardiovascular fitness for longevity and living a long, good life. But setting some time aside for mobility, flexibility, and stability is going to keep you away from being injured and keep you in the gym and progressing. It's going to make you a better athlete. And overall, it's going to ensure that your body is ready for anything. I also find that this time is kind of a forced meditation, kind of Zen-like state that is also really good for that as well. The fourth key pillar is getting outside every single day. This is the thing that has had by far the biggest impact on my mental health and my overall happiness. I find that just getting outside every single day for a short walk with no podcast or distractions is extremely centering. This little bit of exercise, as well as the light that I'm getting and the fresh air, also I'm sure are playing a part as well. I find that this time spent in nature just reframes my thinking and any problems I might be having, and just reminds me I'm a tiny blip in this massive universe. The fifth habit is using the 2-minute rule religiously. I mention this as it's been such a game changer for myself and has really up-leveled my life and my work. The 2-minute rule is basically if anything's going to take 2 minutes or less, just do it right then. This helps keep your mental space clear such that you can focus on the big important stuff versus these minutiae of details that are just kind of killing you like a death by 1,000 paper cuts. For the second half of these habits, I wanted to thematically bring them together with another quote. This one from the famous Roman leader and Stoic disciple Marcus Aurelius, stating, "Waste no time arguing what a good man should be one." With that quote in mind, the sixth item on this list is being comfortable with discomfort. I could go on and on about this topic and have built a ton of my life around this idea. I attribute much of my success in life being able to just handle more stressors and more of what the world throws at me than those around me. And all of this came from dealing with discomfort. The way that I've gotten this discomfort is I'm an avid mountain adventurer and mountain athlete, and I spend a ton of time doing long, grueling climbs and hikes and skis that really push my comfort zone. These moments of discomfort not only make me more resilient, but make me really appreciate the moments of comfort I do have. I have never appreciated the simple comforts in life more than after spending many days backpacking into remote areas and grueling physical challenges. My chosen big adventures and physical challenges are not the only way to do this. These can look like working out consistently or working out with high intensity, taking a cold shower, or anything else that makes you push past a mental barrier. Or this can even look like just going up and talking to a stranger or anything that would have made you feel uncomfortable. You'll be amazed if you do this regularly how much your life changes and how much better you are at dealing with discomfort. Habit number 7 is setting time aside to learn new things. This might sound like investing in yourself, but the nuance with this is I want this one to be thought of as just taking the time to do something new just for the novelty and just to do it. This might look like picking up a new hobby, like learning an instrument, like journaling or learning to write. But these are things I want you to think about adding to your life for the joy of doing them and learning them versus the investing in yourself, which I was really talking about, adding skills that are going to kind of improve your value. For me, this looks like a myriad of things from playing the guitar, from trying to do some creative writing projects, from trying to do some cinematography projects and all these things. Overall, this looks like me being super curious and just keeping that childish mind of always questioning things and looking for something else to learn and do. In the moment, this might look like a waste of time when you're trying to optimize every little corner of your life, but this time set aside for your interests and doing something that brings you joy just kind of keeps you mentally more stable, and it also adds a lot of interest to your life. You don't want to be one of those people who's really good at accounting, they're the best in the world, they're making a ton of money, but they're just kind of boring and they don't have these different hobbies and soft skills and everything around this that add a little bit of variety to life and make you a more interesting individual. Lastly, learning new things keeps your brain sharp. There's a ton of research showing that your risk of dementia and getting conditions like Alzheimer's is significantly reduced when you're learning new things and challenging your brain in new ways. Item 8 on my list is systemizing some kind of mindfulness practice. This can look like a morning meditation. It can look like that morning walk we talked about earlier, doing yoga, journaling, or anything that works best for you. The key thing here is systemizing this mindfulness activity of your choice to happen consistently, as I found that this intermediate, like meditate every week or so, doesn't have nearly the benefits of doing something, even if it's tiny, every single day. Habit number 9 is taking some time to not spend any money, and as Seneca puts it, living off the cheapest fare. This can look like not eating out for a month, not buying anything, but being ultra conscious with any consumption that you're doing. I personally implement this practice by picking some quarter where I just don't buy anything that's not essential or something that's going to lead to some big productivity or happiness gain. Like I'm not going to skip a trip or travel or some life experience, but I'm not going to be buying that little gadget or something that's not adding a ton of value to my life. Overall, this practice just makes you realize how much crap you buy that you don't need. It makes you more conscious with what you're buying and getting by with less, which is one of the most powerful things I've ever taught myself. The final habit to make this year the best one yet is looking for any opportunity to use the Pareto principle, also known like the 80-20 rule. I actually think this principle is closer to 90-10 in reality. And if you spend some time focusing on where you're going to have the most outsized returns and gains, then you could get so much farther ahead than just grinding away with no plan of action. In practice, this looks like taking some time for reflection to look at what your habits are and how you're spending your time. And I would implore you to not only watch this video, but think about how all these principles can apply to your life. It's so easy to just watch this content over and over that's telling us things that we know, or we know we need to know, but putting it into practice is really the key here. Tim Ferriss has a great example of this, where at the end of every year, he scrapes his entire calendar and puts everything into the buckets of the things that like brought him joy and excitement and energy, and the things that didn't add a lot of value. And using the similar Pareto principle is just taking the best 20% that led to the 80% of his excitement and joy in life and double downing on that for next year and getting rid of all the stuff that didn't add anything useful. I still struggle with this personally, as I want to do everything all the time, but taking the time to look at your life and reflect and looking where you can have the most impact and outsized returns is a lens we should all be looking at. These are the key habits and principles that have transformed my life into what is really close to my dream existence. Thank you so much for watching. And if you want to see more stuff like this, let me know. And a like and subscribe is a signal for me to make more of this content. With that, let's go out and make 2025 our best year yet.